Welcome to another Smash Cut discussion. In these segments, we'll be talking about the various events and goings-on within the realm of Super Smash Bros. And with the final Smash Direct behind us now, we got a lot of new info to discuss. So, let's start at the beginning with that absolute shocker that kicked it off. I gotta say, everyone, I'm actually a pretty huge Fire Emblem fan, and yet, among the other Fire Emblem fans that I've been in contact with for a long time now, none of us thought we'd get another Fire Emblem character. I mean, we all figured that, we had enough for now, that Fates was too new to see any representation, and that we were just gonna wait until the next Smash game and see what happened then. And then Corrin gets in. We were surprised as everyone else. I mean, it's not a... I mean, it's a matter of... it wasn't what we were expecting. It wasn't really what we were asking for, but hey, we'll take it. Honestly, I'm super impressed by the moveset. I mean, Corrin looks really, really unique. And come on, he's the first shapeshifter we've had in Smash. He's definitely not just some swordsman. I mean, half his freaking attacks involve transforming in some way. And, well, I can't really bring this up without also bringing up the massive amount of salt surrounding his inclusion, and her inclusion technically, since we got male and female versions of Corrin. But it's just, I feel like so much of it it's missing the point. It's missing why it probably happened. I see so many arguments over, why do we need another anime swordsman? We have too many anime swordsmen, and yet that's not how Sakurai looks at this. I mean, he's looking at their moveset potential. He's looking at what new stuff they can bring, and I mean, Corrin definitely brings a lot of new things. He doesn't feel redundant at all. I mean, if you want to mince words, Roy and Lucina feel more redundant, and both of them got in for completely different reasons than Corrin. I mean, Lucina started out as an alt for Marth and just so happened to become a clone because they had a little bit of extra time on their hands, but not enough to create a fully unique character. Because, I mean, let's be honest, if they had enough time to create a fully distinct character, they would have brought in Mewtwo or Lucas in the base game. That feels pretty obvious to me. I mean, not even they would want to put in clones just for the sake of putting in clones unless that was their best option. Meanwhile, Roy had a lot of fans who wanted to see him back. And to be honest, most of them were actually not Fire Emblem fans. They were people who played him in Melee or played him in Project M and wanted him to come back in the newest game. So the people who were overjoyed about Corrin getting in are generally not the same people that were hyped up about Roy or about Lucina. Well, people were happy that Lucina got in, but then a little disappointed that she was a clone. But it's just, this is a completely different situation. All three of these Fire Emblem characters got in for different reasons, and it's more just a fluke than anything else that there ended up being so many of them in this game. I mean, Sakurai does seem to have kind of a soft spot for the series. I think he seems to think it needs more love, but I don't know if this is entirely quote-quote Sakurai bias here, Whatever the reason, I'll take it. Hope he synergizes well with Robin, covers some of Robin's bad matchups. I know pretty much damn near every Robin main I know is looking to pick up Corrin as a secondary now. Of course, the one downside of this being, we gotta wait until February for Corrin to be ready, which is kind of disappointing, to be honest. But, on the other hand, it's going to be an interesting couple months. Actually, one more thing I should touch on. Another argument that I've seen people make regarding Corrin's inclusion is that they only just put him in to promote Fates. Thing is, that's never been Sakurai's MO. That's never been the main reason he's put a character in. I mean, not even Roy got in that way. I mean, especially with the proof coming from a recent article, recent interview that Source Gaming brought to attention, mentioning that Roy's game was actually originally planned to come out before Melee, so that would not have been his debut, and then his game got delayed. And either way, the main reason he got into Melee was because Sakurai was looking for some clones, and Roy just happened to be one that looked like he could be relatively interesting as a Marth clone. He could stand out a little compared to Marth, and then the rest is history. But, let's be honest here. How could he be used to promote Fire Emblem Fates if Fire Emblem Fates has been out in Japan since the summer? I mean, that couldn't have been the main reason. From what it looks like, my best guess is that Sakurai definitely would have had his ear to the ground, so to speak, in regards to Fire Emblem. Maybe he brought up, he said, hey, this new game's coming out. Maybe let's see if there are any really interesting characters from this game. And then maybe he and his team saw Corrin and started thinking of moveset ideas, and so many of those animations are just directly based on things he can do as attacks straight out of the game. And then he said, this character is just awesome. We can't let Corrin slip by us. If we don't bring him in now, he's not going to be relevant in time for Smash 5. We need to do this now. And that's how I think it happened. I mean, we only know so much so far. That could change, but hey, he's here. I'm going to make the most of it. I hope he becomes a fan favorite. So now, we ended up getting a lot more info on Cloud this time, and predictably enough, as many of us thought, he was available almost immediately after the Direct. And I've played around as him a bit, and he's a very fun character. He's kind of right up my alley as far as those types of characters go. He's very spacing heavy. He's good at keeping people out of his face, keeping them at arm's length. The way his whole limit break system works is very interesting. It kind of has this aspect of resource management and kind of getting an idea of, do I want to conserve this and use the boosted stats, or which special do I want to use this on, or do I just want to use this defensively and save it for when I get hit off stage so I can Clim Hazard back on? Because let's be honest, his recovery sucks without it. And he just feels like a very new addition. Again, kind of like Corrin, he doesn't feel like just some generic quote-unquote anime swordsman at all. And so much of him, he feels like this giant love letter to Final Fantasy VII, which he feels very inspired. That's definitely a good thing. I gotta say, I'm especially impressed by how they seemingly so far made Finishing Touch balanced. I mean, we saw it in the trailer, we saw how easily it killed in his debut trailer, and we all got kind of worried that it'd be kind of overpowered. And yet, they managed to balance it by 1, making it only do 1% damage, so it's only useful for killing. 2, make it notably slow, so that you can react on it on time. And made it so that it does next to nothing to shield, so that it makes it useless if your opponent shields it. And made it so that it has notable startup and does not give Cloud invincibility or super armor whatsoever, so we can get it out of it. Meaning that it really only has a use as a punish at kind of mid percents, because at lower percents it's not going to do anything, because again it's only going to do 1%. You can't just throw it out like Little Mac's KO punch because your opponent can shield it or dodge it and can just hit you before it activates. And at higher percents, when other stuff is killing, those other moves are going to be much more useful, much more safe, and they just did one hell of a good job with it. From what we've seen so far, I'm impressed. Although there are a couple of things I'm a little disappointed about in regards to Cloud. For one, the fact that he only has his Japanese voice actor. I mean, I just generally prefer voice acting in my native language. That's just kind of my thing. And I'm just really disappointed that they couldn't get Steve Burton to come in and record for him for whatever reason. And then also the fact that the Midgar stage only has 2 pieces of music. Oh, such a missed opportunity. I mean, the ones they went with are good and all, but it's just, they don't even have one winged angel. But hey, he's here, he's interesting, feels like he was worth the purchase. Onward, though, to the Mii costumes. And, the biggest one of all is, holy crap, Gino got a costume. I mean, let's be honest, he had next to no chance of being fully playable, but the fact that he got acknowledged, even as a full Mii costume no less, is huge, and it's really, really cool. And just to see him, just to see Super Mario RPG getting some actual attention it's just, as someone who grew up with the game, it's just really, really awesome. And who knows, the fact that he's getting acknowledged now, the fact that Square Enix and Nintendo seem to be on better terms than they've been in years, who knows, maybe he might end up popping up in the occasional Mario game or something. Wishful thinking, I know, but just maybe. Aside from that, there was disappointingly few Square Enix costumes. Just Gino in the Chocobo hat. I mean, not even like outfits for Tifa, Barrett, and Sephiroth like so many people were expecting, or not even anyone from other Final Fantasy games. Not even Cecil, Terra. If you want to stretch a little, maybe like a Yang costume for the Brawler. But the apparent dearth of Square Enix costumes is, I don't think we really expected that. It feels like a bit of a missed opportunity, Maybe they just kind of ran out of juice near the end, so to speak. But on the other hand, on the February wave, there's still some cool stuff coming up for fans of Takamaru, Ashley, the Sonic games, Tower of Druaga, I hope I pronounced that right. Overall, there's quite the variety of Mii costumes. There's a little there for everyone, I suppose. I've messed around with the Mii Gunner a little, and having a Geno costume there definitely makes me more inclined to mess around with them a little more. But now on to the other major bombshell. Who saw Bayonetta coming? Seriously, it took it to the point where that giant full moon showed up in the background and she started talking to make me realize, oh wait, I know who this is going to be. In fact, when she first started talking, I thought it was Medusa. I admit, I wasn't the biggest fan of her getting in at first. You see, I'm really involved in speculation a lot, and a lot of the arguments for her felt really misguided. A lot of it based on the whole idea of, oh, we need to give Platinum Games a rep, or, oh, they need to put Bayonetta in to promote her games, or it's just that's not the reasons characters get in. That's just not how Sakurai does things, Although a bigger question is, the reason I thought she wouldn't have a chance, how did they keep her whole sensuality intact while also maintaining an E10 rating? Bayonetta is a very sexual character. That's just how her personality is. And while there's nothing wrong with that, of course, how do you tone that down enough to get her to work in an E10 rated game while still keeping her true enough to character? And Sakurai keeping characters true to character seems to be a very big deal for him. That was the reason he passed up on Ridley for this game. And then somehow they manage it, and I don't know how. And yet the biggest question is, how is she the Smash Ballot winner? And how is there actually just one ballot winner to begin with? It makes so little sense. We have this big, huge deal with how the fans can participate and nominate a character that they want to see as DLC, and to only pull one character from it? I don't understand. Much less the fact that, she didn't really seem to be getting overly notable support in a lot of places. I know, small reference pools and all, but it seemed like King K. Rool was running away with it everywhere. But even beyond that, I rarely saw Bayonetta reach the top 10 of a lot of straw polls I saw. I'm just wondering how it happened. I think my best guess at the moment is that maybe you have to figure that they looked over movesets and ideas for a whole bunch of different characters, and maybe they really just fell in love with this concept for Bayonetta's moveset, and Sakurai just said, yeah, I know we have other ideas for some of these other characters, but I just can't top this. And to his credit, Bayonetta's moveset feels super inspired. She just feels like she was pulled straight out of her games, and that is really impressive. She definitely has a unique niche in having all of these multi-hit combo-heavy attacks, with an emphasis on aerial combat compared to Ryu, who works better when his feet are planted on the ground. And she's very true to the source material, has a lot of unique characteristics. Her gun arts, I hope I got that name right. Her Wicked Weaves, her Witch Time down special. The fact that that her up special gets her very little distance, but she can use it once per jump, is something else. I guess in a way, this is kind of a creative risk. Sakurai must have decided that I could go with other characters, but I think this one could be so impressive that I think she's worth the risk. And as someone who's done some artistic stuff before, I gotta respect him for that. And I've been wanting to get Bayonetta 2 for a while. I heard it was really good. I just haven't been able to get it because, finances be damned. She doesn't look like my kind of thing character-wise. Her playstyle just isn't the kind of thing I'm the most interested in. But I might end up buying her anyway because she does look kind of interesting. And her stage, the Umbral Clock Tower, I hope I got that name right too, looks like it might actually be competitively viable, which is huge for me. So if her stage is good, I'll end up buying the pack anyway. So who knows, right? But with all that said, it seems we've finally reached the end. I gotta say, I didn't want to see Smash DLC end so abruptly. I know it's been a while, it's been over a year since the base game was released, and I know Sakurai's health has really been flagging because he always puts so much of himself into these games. And yet, it's bittersweet in a way. We got a lot of interesting surprises. I mean, I was pretty hyped for Cloud and Corrin in particular. But at the same time, a lot of the super popular candidates didn't get in. I mean, Karul, Isaac, etc. None of my top 5 for DLC got in. I mean, I figured not all of them would get in, but none of them? I'm just kind of... It just feels a little hollow, in a way, And as well, the fact that there are so many stages that got left out. I mean, no Fountain of Dreams, no Great Bay, no chance for stages like Yoshi's Island Brawl or Prison Tower to come in from the 3DS version to the Wii U version. It just feels like, I don't know, maybe just as a competitor standpoint, it feels like their stage list it could have been so much greater. I suppose we gotta work with what we have and hope that some stages don't get senselessly banned. And yet, even despite that, there was quite a lot of variety within the DLC. There were a lot of things that kept us guessing and kept us interested until the end. And my top 2 for the base game did get in, Robin and Shulk. And, there's still a lot of things to look forward to. I mean, we still have more Nintendo games coming up all the time, more reasons to watch the Nintendo Directs. We have the NX coming up soon, maybe as soon as the end of next year if the rumors are true. Now, personally, from a personal standpoint, I have Pokken to look forward to. I mean, you bet your ass if it comes down to DLC, I'm pushing for Absol and Delphox to get in. And who knows? Maybe by some miracle this isn't it. Maybe there's still going to be a surprise. Maybe somehow we might get one more character just to round everyone out. I mean, since the first 4 characters were packed together, maybe somehow we'll end up getting one more, blowing everyone's minds. I don't think it's very likely, but maybe it could happen. Or maybe there'll be a little extra content if Smashboards gets an NX port. While I don't think it's particularly likely, since I know Sakurai wanted to keep the 3DS and Wii U versions, he wanted to give them the same roster. It's not entirely out of the question. But, for now, I guess all we can do is just kind of see things as they are and work with what we have and just move on. And so in closing, thanks for listening. I'm hoping to have some Cloud gameplay videos coming soon. You can bet there'll be some stuff on Corrin when he's ready in February. And my Oracle of Seasons Let's Play will be kicking off within the week again. And so, until then, thanks for listening.